new economic report shattering expectations, showing the strongest GDP growth in 2 years. The economy grew at 4.3% in the third quarter, up from 3.8% in the previous 3 months. Consumer spending, that means you, typically accounts for 2/3 of the economy. And the Commerce Department says it played a big part in boosting this growth. President Trump took a victory lap on Truth Social, attributing the success in part to good government, his tariffs, and that strong consumer spending. He wrote, quote, "The Trump economic golden age is in full steam," adding, "You haven't seen anything yet." Now, this good news today comes amid some other very mixed economic signals. A separate, closely watched report out today found that consumer confidence is the lowest it's been since April, when President Trump unveiled his Liberation Day tariffs. And 1 week ago today, the Labor Department reported that the unemployment rate rose to 4.6%, the highest in 4 years. So, is the economy booming heading into the new year or not? Let's dig into the details for answers. Caleb Silver is the editor-in-chief of Investopedia, and Mick Mulvaney, Investopedia. Actually, Mick, it's your sweater. It so distracted me, I just stumbled on your name. Mick Mulvaney's the former acting chief of staff of President Trump in his first term. He was also director of the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, Mick. These numbers are surprisingly strong, given low consumer confidence and high worries among most Americans about inflation. This seems to be a sign that the economy is a lot more resilient than economists expected.
They are great numbers. Look, I don't think we had numbers like this at all during the first term. We would have killed for a GDP number that began with a 4 handle. That's fantastic. There's some other worrisome sort of data in there. The inflation numbers are higher than we talk about. I don't pay as much attention, Elizabeth, to the unemployment rate because it's a 2-variable sort of equation. If you are unemployed and I'm unemployed, but neither of us is looking for a job, then the unemployment rate is 0. So this could just indicate that more people are coming back into the labor force. So there's a bunch of different sort of noise in the data there. This is really good numbers. You can't eat GDP, though, and we'll wait and see if these numbers translate into better consumer confidence numbers in the months to come.
Caleb, is this a sign of this K-shaped economy we keep hearing about? The wealthy are spending lots of money. The rest of America is feeling the pinch of stubborn inflation?
Yeah, well, everybody's spending money. The wealthy are just spending more as usual. But when you dig inside the GDP numbers and you look at consumer spending, where was it? It was in services, it was in healthcare, and it was in international travel. And if you've been on an airplane anytime recently, the front of the airplane is packed. So the top 10% are spending, they're traveling, they're spending on experiences. Everybody else is dealing with the affordability problem because all prices seem to have gone up except for gasoline and maybe new cars because we haven't been buying any due to tariffs. So there's this disconnect between how terrible people feel about the economy, but actually it is turning along actually quite healthily as of this latest report.
Yeah, Caleb, you bring up a fabulous point. We have a real divide. The business community and investors are feeling bullish about the economy, but most ordinary Americans are feeling quite pessimistic. The Bank of America just came out with a report titled "The Tale of Two Wallets," noting the gap between lower and higher income households remains quite wide.
Yeah, and you hear it from CEOs like Walmart saying we're getting higher income consumers shopping at Walmart, buying the basics, and we're getting smaller basket size from the lower end consumer. You hear it from Dollar Tree, Dollar General. So there's some spending going on, but people are trying to make their dollars go a little bit further on the basics right now. On the other hand, business spending, the other component of GDP, really strong because of all the data center build out, all the money being spent on AI. That does drive productivity after all. So you have those two things working at the same time, but it is the high end and it is businesses spending, and you have high corporate profits. You have record highs in the stock market too.
Mick, is the president right when he claims credit for this GDP because of his tariffs? The tariffs were what sort of roiled the stock markets and sent them plumbing temporarily, because they're up a lot now, at the beginning. In other words, can you say it's the tariffs?
If anything, it's the change in the tariffs. Keep in mind, a couple weeks back, the Trump administration telegraphed they were going to sort of modify their tariff approach. They're going to go back to what they did in the first administration, which is we're going to put tariffs on, but they're also going to do a lot of what's called exemptions. Essentially say, look, we'll do tariffs, but if we don't make it here, we're unlikely to ever make it here. We're not going to tariff that. That simply makes sense. Otherwise, all you're doing is simply raising the price of things for everybody. Trump still had plenty of leverage in negotiations in the first term, but because of all the exemptions, he didn't have hardly any inflation. So I think if tariffs have anything to do with these numbers, I'm sort of inclined to think they don't. But if they do, it was that telegraphing that the tariffs are going to be a little bit more nuanced going forward, and we're only going to tariff things that we want to make and can make here.
Yeah, I mean, we tariffed bananas, which we cannot make here. We tariffed
Correct.
coffee, which we don't make here or grow here. And people were like, whoa, you know, why is the price of coffee and bananas just tripled? Was it a mistake for the Trump administration to come out so aggressively tariffing everything so dramatically?
Yes. Absolutely. I think look, in the first term, there was a protectionist wing of the party and a free trade wing of the party. Now there is no free trade wing of the party. It's sort of absolute protectionist and then a little bit less protectionist. And that's one of the reasons you got this difference in the approach to tariffs here in the second term. Peter Navarro was a voice in the first term. Now he's the primary voice when it comes to trade policy. He hates exemptions. I think they finally started to figure out as an administration that the formula they used in the first term could give them the leverage they need, still get good, healthy economic growth, and not have the inflation caused by, as you point out, two great examples, bananas and coffee. Why were we tariffing those things in the first place? I will never know.
Caleb, we see this divide when you compare the stock markets to the political polls for sure. The markets show gains as of today of more than 15%, which is incredibly great news for the half of Americans who own stock. But then at the same time, we have 74% of Americans who think the economy is fair to poor. How do you square those two realities?
It's about asset ownership. It's not just been a good year, it's been a good 3 years. This bull market started running really at the end of October of 2022 with the release of ChatGPT commercially. So you've seen the stock market roar to record highs. You've seen profits from the biggest companies, NVIDIA, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, et cetera, doubling in some cases because they're spending so much on AI and others are spending with them. A circular spending going on. But for people who are making the median income, working the 40, 50 hours a week, maybe an additional job just to make ends meet, they're not feeling the surge in corporate profits. A 3.8% handle on third quarter GDP means nothing to people who are literally going week to week, seeing if they can make it, so they can stretch the dollar as prices continue to go up. They're not going up as much as they were, but they're still dealing with high prices, and higher prices might be coming in the new year with those healthcare premiums disappearing if they are not voted to remain in place.
Yeah, that is a huge stress on tens of millions of American families.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.